There was a weird time, the East Coast versus West Coast shit was
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah. It was, people equated to Tupac and Suge. I mean, and Bad Boy and Death Row. But it was actually bubbling before that. It was, to me, an industry thing in a way. Like, New York had the throne for so long, and here go, well, at least a decade or more. And here comes these West Coast rappers, kind of taking attention away. And so the industry people, it started to bubble up with them that, yo, we're doing real hip hop. They're just doing gangster records, And so that started to kind of get into the artists, I mean? That sentiment started to poison the artists. And an artist named Tim Dog did a song called Fuck Compton, like out of nowhere. We was like, damn, we like New York. Why y'all, why he take a shot? And nobody really rebutted him. Like, they kind of let it slide. And then more and more artists start taking shots here and there. And then the thing with Bad Boy and Death Row, it kind of just took it over the top. It just made it, because they were the hottest labels. You had the hottest label on the East Coast battling with the hottest label on the West Coast. So that made that undercurrent of animosity that was growing blow all the way up and look like it was a feud.
Yeah. How did that ever get resolved?
I think when Tupac got killed and then Biggie was murdered shortly after, people realized this is a dead-end road. Like, people stopped listening really to East Coast and West Coast at that time, and that's how the immersion of the South came. The South was there bubbling. They was doing their thing. They had groups that was making a dent, but at one point, all the hip hop fans were so fed up with the East Coast West Coast beef that they said, we're just gonna pay attention to what the South is doing. You guys gotta heal your wounds and come back. And so that's the emergence of the South and all the groups that came out.
Back then, were you touring on the East Coast?
Yeah.
So what was it like when you were touring on the East Coast in the middle of all that shit?
It was always love. Some fans took sides, but most of it was, industry stuff, and they were kind of caught in the middle. So, I did a record called, Bow Down with the West Side Connection, which we addressed a lot of the beef because we felt like most of the industry was in New York at the time. So we felt like if we didn't stand up for ourselves in some way, shape, or form, what we accomplished the last decade would be erased and eroded and dismissed, discredited. And we would be played out. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have longevity.
Right.
So, there was, back and forths. But at the end of the day, Tupac being killed, Biggie being killed was just a wake-up call for the whole industry.
That's sad that's how the wake-up call had to go.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I was on news radio, on the set of news radio, when someone told me Tupac got killed. And I remember thinking, how is that possible? How is that real?
I just, it was a new day. Like, it's like, oh, we're in a new era where celebrity means nothing. Celebrity means nothing. Anybody can get it.
Yeah.
So it's damn near like we back where we started from, back in the hood, trying not to get it. And here, you're a celebrity and you can still get it.
How dangerous did that feel to you back then?
You know, no more dangerous than it feels when any of people, any person I know gets shot. It feels like, damn, you know, this never ends. I don't remember taking any more precaution than I usually would. But I knew people, some dudes was getting bulletproof trucks and shit and bulletproof vans and all this stuff. I was like, nah, I ain't going to that extent.
It's just a crazy time in music history too, because there'd never been like rock bands that were feuding with each other to the point where you were worried about people getting murdered.
No, not that I know of. Rock bands do feud. They usually don't do diss records either.
Right.
They just feud, or they have subliminal disses. It's never like
The diss record thing was wild. That was really the first time artists ever went after each other like that.
Yeah, it's but it's like sparring. It's like battling. It's like it's part of the game, so it's welcomed in a way. You spar, you practice, you know how to fight, and then somebody get in your face and challenge you. Like, okay, this is what we do. Let's rumble. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you grow up battling. You got your raps. You say your cocky shit. You know what I mean? And somebody want to, put it on wax and battle. Like, we can battle on wax any day. You know what I'm saying? So let's go for it.
When did it feel like for you all that shit sort of like went away? Like the feud stuff, when did it seem like it was just back to just making music?
For some reason, I think like 9/11, like that tragedy of 9/11, for some reason, like it seemed like from then the feuding stopped and people kind of reassessed and reorganized their thought process when it comes to that. Like it was like that's when it seemed like a ceasefire just was the best thing to do, because the country went through a crazy shakeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.